everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to Zeee Best Guide series. So moving forward on the channel, any contents or guides titled Zeee Best will be highly informative, highly edited, highly scripted with a high level of accuracy and a stint of fun, and lastly a ton of Zeeebo in it. So if you like to see more of such guides, you like to see more of Zeee Best series, or you just like what you see in today's video, do remember to like and subscribe to see more. And with that, let us start today's video. Let's go. Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to yet another Zeee Best Guide video. So in today's Zeee Best Guide video, we're going to cover the final Dream Realm boss on our list, which is King Croaker. So before I begin talking more about King Croaker, there's a few things that will be slightly different for today's video, right? So number one, other than the meta builds, I will also be recommending a build without Thoran, right? So that's number one. Number two, I'll also be talking about the positioning more because King Croaker's ability can sort of screw your team over if your positioning is really bad. So that will be something that I think King Croaker is more unique compared to other boss. Right, the reason why I have to suggest a team without Thoran is because King Croaker's insta-kill ability cannot be countered. All unit in the game gets insta-killed whenever he uses the insta-kill ability. So even the likes of Igor, even the likes of Brutus, where they get damage inbound, they just get insta-killed, right? So insta-kill overrides the invulnerability. So the only unit that can sort of bypass or play around the insta-kill is Thoran. So if you want optimal damage, if you want the best damage, you definitely need Thoran as a whole, right? Because this unit is the only one that is currently able to counter the insta-kill mechanic. So Thoran without EX weapon, you have 2 lives. So you have to actually sacrifice 2 units if Thoran doesn't have the EX. If you have Thoran with the EX, you will sacrifice only Thoran, which is 1 unit. So that's where you sort of keep the other 4 units alive so that they can push through the full cycle and then do as much damage as possible. So that's why I'm going to recommend a team for you to hit as hard as possible before King Croaker takes out 3 of your units. So that will be one of the agenda in today's video. So without further ado, let's start with the boss's skill introduction first. So as usual, all bosses have a scaling move. King Croaker's scaling move is the ultimate. So this ultimate allows King Croaker to recover 60 energy every second after a battle start, but will not recover energy due to other circumstances. So it doesn't speed up the energy recovery when you hit him. When energy is full, gains a magic barrier, but does not recover energy while this barrier is in effect. When taking damage, loses 75 energy and reduces this damage by 50%. Okay, so this is a damage reduction kind of thing to keep the boss tanky. As you level up all the way to endless, right, the energy recovery is the same, right? But when taking damage, loses 25 energy and reduces this damage by 90%. So makes the boss a lot tankier, right, the later you go. So in general, if you take a look at the ranking, King Croaker's damage output is probably on par with Cyclops in terms of the numbers, because for King Croaker, he has this shielding ability, and for Cyclops, he has the damage immunity to sort of bypass out the damage you're going to do. So compared to Necrodrake, where you can hit upwards to 80 million, right, as well as No Stomper, where you can hit upwards to about 70 million, King Croaker generally takes less damage, so the numbers will be lower. So this is the ranking right now for my server. So for King Croaker's second skill, right, release a magical bubble 15, 35 and 55 seconds into battle, and the target will be defeated outright if hit. So this is the insta-kill ability. There's no way you can dodge it. He'll use it 3 times in battle. So Thoran with EX, you have 3 lives, so end up you only sacrifice Thoran as a unit. If you don't have Thoran with the EX weapon, you sacrifice 2 lives of Thoran and then you sacrifice 1 other unit. So that's something that you guys need to know. And on top of that, right, for the third skill, launches a AoE water bomb that deals 220% damage to enemies within 2 tiles. Okay, so this is where the positioning matters, because the AoE ability, unlike Necrodrake, right, it's an insta huge burst of damage. So if your team cannot tank up, if your team is not as strong as you used to be, you sort of have to play around different positionings to see how you can reduce the impact of this water bomb damage to your team, right? So the goal, at least from the first 3 skills, is to, number 1, you know, sort of build a team that can survive as much of the insta-kill, and then position your unit such that they won't take so much damage from the water bomb that they die. So the most optimal situation is at the end of the cycle, you have at least 4 units up, right? Because you only sacrifice Thoran. So that would be the best case scenario. And then the last ability, knock back and stun enemy. So this one is for the melee unit. So usually it will be Thoran that rushes in front. So basically massive damage. to enemies within 1 tile, knocking them back 1 tile and stunning them for 2.5 seconds. So not a major part of the kit, but in general for this boss, the things you want to take note is the Q as well as positioning for the water bomb AoE damage. With that, let us start with the F2P beginners account. Let's go. Okay, so starting out on my free-to-play account, let's start the battle. This is the team that I use. Okay, but the issue with the team is that I would say it's quite fluctuating because the AoE damage of the boss, right, can wipe house really easily. So I have a best score of 5 million over here, but in my average run is always around 4 million because there's a little bit of RNG factor evolving whether or not the AoE burst kills my unit. So this is how I position my unit right now, right? So the reason why I split up 2 of my carry is such that, you know, I reduce the impact of the water, the AoE skill. Like I mentioned earlier, positioning do matter. So I kind of want to keep my units alive for as long as possible. And luckily for me, okay, I don't know what's my luck with Thoran, but managed to get Thoran to Mythic Plus. So this account is still completely free to play. It's just that I get really lucky with Thoran, as you guys can see. So I get the 3 lives, which buys me a lot more time. But if you don't have Thoran at 3 lives, it's fine, right? Just means that maybe your healer will pass on first, unfortunately. But you still can do as much damage as possible. So this is my recommended team. Zeee is obviously there for a little bit more damage. Coco is there for like all the support that she can provide, and then Smokey as usual, OD as the main damage dealer, Thoran as the main tank. So without further ado, let's do this run. Okay, let's start. Battle. The other good thing about Zeee in terms of this map is Zeee summon can actually draw the damage and the attention away depending on how you position your unit, because the AoE ability hits the area where you got the most enemies, right? So if your position in a case where, you know, when you're close to the summon, there's a lot of unit, then the skill will actually hit towards the summon side, and then this will reduce the damage on your carry and then allow your carry to stay alive longer to do more damage. So 3 lives down, right? So I mean 2 lives down. Oh, as you guys see, this is the AoE skill that I'm talking about. Like this AoE burst just kill me from there. So sometimes my team can survive, sometimes my team cannot. So depending on whether or not your team can survive, you can actually make the necessary adjustments. Okay, like this is the damage distribution. So main carry, secondary carry, I think most people should have a stronger Zeee. So a stronger Zeee should probably survive better than me. But yeah, just this is probably the best team setup as a free-to-play player for most people's inventory. Okay, if you don't have Zeee, you can try running Croaker. That will give you a 4-1 buff. But your Croaker also needs to be of a certain level so that he doesn't melt too easily to the attacks of the boss, right? Because end of the day, with a Thoran and Mythic Plus, you want 4 units alive. So you can hit as hard for as long as possible. So next, let's move on to my endgame free-to-play account. Let's go. Okie dokie, we are back. So this account is the free-to-play account that doesn't have Rainer. So if you have Rainer, use Rainer. I think Rainer can replace Croaker or Corin depending on who you have more invested. But this is my free-to-play setup. This is the best damage. There's no factional bonus because the reason why I run this is Corin can shield up to protect my units when the AoE skill from the boss come, and then Croaker is there for physical debuff, and I'm running a physical team as you guys can see. So my 3 damage dealer, including Croaker, can hit the boss with more damage because of the Croaker debuff. So depending on, you know, who you have, if you have a Skalita that's way stronger, right, you can use Skalita. Right, this is what I will do usually, but the thing is, I think my Corin does better, so I'm going to use Corin setup. So without further ado, let's start this free-to-play endgame account showcase. Let's go. Okay, so this is without Rainer, by the way. Like I mentioned, the team is pretty standard against Croaker. I think there's very little variation. There's actually a mage variation if you don't have Celestial Hippogene. But I don't think a lot of people will go that route, right? So that's the Cassidy Morale OD side if you don't have Celestial Hippogene. So that is the slightly weaker version, because end of the day, if you have Rainer, just use Rainer, because Rainer is just currently one of the best debuffer for the boss, and pretty much in every single team, if you guys have seen my previous video, for all the meta damage dealing. So that's the power of Rainer. Oh, what the? Oh, Merrily died. This is a bad demo, guys. I'm Merrily died. Okay, maybe I should maybe I shouldn't link Merrily to our dear Thoran. I'm gonna do another run after this to show the actual damage. I'll probably link Corey to Thoran instead. Merrily died because our dear Smokey's heal didn't come through, unfortunately. So I'm gonna do another run just to give a better gauge of the damage, just for the thumbnail. Okay, the damage on the thumbnail. This is so funny. Okay, so this is my current damage rate, 42 million. I'm gonna put like this. Okay, yeah, I think one of the reason why Mary died there was also because I didn't have any factional buff. So my team is like more paper compared to usual. Like usually you guys can see that I'll have at least a 10% factional buff, but for this time around it's completely zero. So we're losing a little bit of attack, we're also losing a little bit of HP. But I need Corin in the pool, right? Because for Corin's case, I need to shield up and protect my Smokey because my Smokey is not strong, right? So this is my way of playing. If your Smokey is strong enough to tank, I think you can use OD, right? So OD gives you the factional bonus, the 10% attack and 10% HP, and OD is a pretty decent unit for this boss. I'm gonna showcase maybe a run with OD to show you guys what I mean by that, but just build the team based on what you need. I need the shield to protect my Smokey so he can continuously stand in the middle to provide the ultimate cloud and the heal cloud to keep my team going. Okay, so right here, this is it. You guys can see because mine is not at the Supreme Plus yet. Mine is not even at Mythic Plus yet, so I need the shielding. Yeah, still pass away even with the shielding, unfortunately. Okay, slightly better damage compared to previously. So we are here for the 3 million, right? I don't think we are squeezing into top 20 because top 20 will require you to have a Rainer. So this is the damage distribution. Okay, yeah. So with that, right, I'm just going to showcase another run, the last one, or rather before we go into the meta team, we do it with our dear Smokey. And this time around, what I will do is I'm going to put Smokey somewhere over to the right side. So in a sense, right, what happened is that Smokey won't be the main priority target. So this is something you can do as well. This is for positioning purposes. So we do this. Okay. So Kruger's gonna run in front. We have the factional bonus. So we are trading off a little bit of shielding for factional bonuses, which sort of also like gives you a little bit more health as well. I don't know how well this will turn out, but this is one of the variation I'll make. So for the end game meta team, the team looks something similar. Obviously, you have Rainer in the team, and then the positioning is slightly more different because by then your Smokey and Murky should be tanky enough for you to put them right in the center, right? For them to survive the full duration. Okay, so I'm just going to speed things up and then go to the final damage from this one. Okay, so we are done. For this time around, Odie actually died. Unfortunate, but I think if Odie was alive, we probably still do around the same amount of damage, 43 million. Because yeah, that's just a deficit that you get without a Mythic Plus Rainer, unfortunately. So yeah, let us move on to the last team for today's video. Okay, so for the meta team, right, let's start with the units and explanation. So I kind of think that I don't need to explain too much. Like, these are all the standard Dream Realm units by now. You guys probably seen them in all my previous video. So they are your T0, best support, best single target debuff, and then 2 of the best carries. And then Thoran is there obviously for the insta kill. So I think with regards to whether or not you use OD or you use Corin, just use them based on your unit investments. Like for myself, I think my OD hits a little bit harder because my OD is Paragon, whereas Corin is only Supreme Plus, and the EX weapon has a 1-star level. So obviously my OD hits a little bit harder. But depending on your own unit progression, depending on who you heavily invest in, I think you can switch around between the 2 of them. So OD or Corin based on your own needs. Okay, so with that, I think the best artifact will still be Starshot spell because you kind of want to just activate your ultimates as much as possible and proc the damage from the usage of the Starshot ability. At the same time, since you have Thoran with EX weapon with the link, right, is 3 lives. So the first lives come from the ultimate, obviously. I mean the third skill, sorry, right? So this is the first revive, and then the second skill is the second revive comes from the EX weapon. Okay, so when he dies, right, the ally that is linked to Thoran will sacrifice 85% of their current HP to heal and revive Thoran. Okay, And the reason why you need a healer, especially, I mean, the reason why you need Smokey and Murky obviously is there for the heals and the offensive buff, but you need a healer because, like I mentioned, the third life of Thoran will be at the cost of your carry unit. So you need something to recover the HP of your carry unit. If you don't have Smokey, throw in a Croaker. If you don't have Croaker, use a Heroin, use a Damien. Okay, so that's just something for you guys. Okay, without further ado, let's do this final run. I'm going to give my commentary. So as usual, Rainer's going to send in my dear Odie, right? Odie sent all the way to the front, taking damage, charging up the energy faster. So Smokey uses a skill. Okay, and then the first AoE water bubble. So this is the first insta kill. That insta kill will sort of drag your unit in and then they'll just poof, right? So I talked about it just now. So for Thoran's case, over here we have 3 lives. Okay, ultimate again with the EX weapon, so the cloud has damage. So the reason why you choose OD or Courier is because you just want to jam in as much damage as possible. At the same time, it doesn't really matter whether or not it's physical or magical because both Thoran as well as Rainer provides all damage up. So is it physical damage? Is it magical damage? They all get boosted. So that's why it doesn't really matter, right? Just base it off your own investments. As if let's say your team is more physical centric, later on I'll share a team without Thoran in case you guys need one, right? So that's where you might want to plan a little bit more in terms of your positioning, right? Because you don't have Thoran, so the order where your unit dies really matters, right? Because if your carry stays all the way to the end, they can stay alive longer and then jam a little bit more damage. So yeah, this is the final damage for this meta team, right? 53 million, 54 million, right? I think it could be a little bit higher, but I think the highest damage in my bracket now is 56. So the highest damage I know now is about 59, 60. So that is the pick. King Croaker is very, very tanky. So the damage won't exceed Yeti as well as Necro Drake. So this is the damage distribution, as you guys can see. So Corin might be slightly better. Might be. Because I think Corin allows you to sort of use your Star Shard faster because he has faster skills usage and he has his own attack speed boost which charges his energy faster. But mine is OD has higher investment, so I use OD instead. So just change based on your personal unit composition. Okay, so this is the damage output as you guys can see. Okay, so next one, I'm going to recommend a team if you don't have Thoran. That is if you don't have Thoran. Okay, so this is not common in the late game side because by the time you are here, you at least have Thoran at 1 copy, 2 copy. If you don't choose to invest in Thoran, then yeah, maybe you don't see Thoran. But Thoran is such a good unit that I'm pretty sure most people will have at least 1 copy. Depending on your gacha luck, getting him to Mythic Plus is one thing. But I think 1 copy most people should have. But in the event you don't have, right, what do? Right, you do this, okay? I'm going to use Croaker in the place. So Croaker, as usual, is one of the best damage buffer because of the defense debuff. And the reason why I run OD and why I move OD slightly further apart, number one, it's the bubble AoE damage, and the other one is to make it such that my 2 carries are the last 2 to survive. Okay, so same thing, Star Shard spell for most damage, try to squeeze out as much as possible. This is how it looks like without Thoran. So I'm going to give my commentary for this one as well. So same thing, Kruger's going to go in, apply a bunch of debuff, then use the ultimate, apply more debuff so that the physical attacker, which is Melody, is going to do more damage. Okay, so very, very soon we'll see the timer reach the insta kill timing, and then Kruger's going to die. So yeah, here we have it, pass away by Croaker. So Croaker is the first unit, unfortunately. So there's 2 other insta kill right after this. So I put Merrily in front because Merrily is going to jump away and get the buff from Rainer. And next unit to get the insta kill is Smokey. Yeah, Smokey is the next one. Okay, we managed to squeeze in 1 more skill before Smokey passed away. But with this, right, we lost our AoE heals. So right now, my unit is surviving purely with their own tankiness. Okay. Okay, the next kill is on Rainer. So Rainer's passed away. Okay, so we are left with Merrily, as you guys can see. So that is probably the best damage output you can do without Thoran. Okay, you're trying to just push your physical damage as much as possible. I would recommend use Corin for this one because Corin is a melee unit. If you use him as a secondary carry on top of Merrily, he will go in and he will be the second one to pass away. So he's not that good if you don't have Thoran. If you have Thoran, I think Korean is equally good to OD if you have them at the same tier. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in as usual. Do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!